Hey everybody, this is David here, aka Chessman, and I'm here to continue my series where I go into a serious look into the chess openings. We've been on the Ruy Lopez, and we're going to continue with the Ruy Lopez. The last video we covered a variation called the Zaitsev variation, and today we're going to call another variation, but there's no name for it. So uh, let me show you what moves we're going to get into the variation. So basically, we're going to e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and just in case you're taking notes, you can either take notes as I'm playing them on the board, or you can just maybe pause the video and just write down these moves that are highlighted. So again, knight c6, then bishop b5, then a6, bishop a4, knight f6, castles, bishop e7, rook e1, b5, bishop b3, d6, c3, castles, h3. And this is the main line. And so what we're covering today, last time we covered bishop to b7, which is the Zaitsev variation. Today we're covering if black goes rook to e8. And from this position, we're covering 5 moves that white could do. And they're the 5 best moves according to the engine. And they're knight to g5, d4, a4, bishop c2, and a3. And I put what their ranking is. Oops. As in what their rating is. So knight g5 is the best. It's a plus 0.45 advantage for white. And then d4 is 0.44, a4 is 0.28, then bishop c2 is 0.24, and a3 is 0.22. Just so you have an idea, according to the engine, these are the best moves in the order, from best to worst. All right, so it won't take us long to cover knight g5, and I'll tell you why. So knight g5 is the best move according to the computer. But the thing is, when you play knight to g5, you're attacking this pawn with the knight and the bishop. And so the only move black has is to go back with the rook and protect the pawn. So he previously went to e8, now he went back. So it's as if he never moved at all. And unfortunately, the best move from here for white is for the knight to go back. So we're in the same position we were a couple moves ago. So either black's like, no, I'm going to play the best move. I'm going to play rook d8 again. He can, but if white doesn't do something else, it's going to be a draw. Draw. All right, so that's knight to g5. So in order to avoid the draw, you're going to have to play something else. So the next best move that you can play, according to the engine, is d4. Now, actually, let me just... Okay. So, I already told you what moves we're going to cover, so I already did that. I was going to show you again. All right. So, d4 is the next best move. And after d4, there's 5 moves that black... There are 5 moves that black could play. They're the 5 best moves that black could play. And I'm going to show you all of them. First, the best move is bishop to f8. Again, this is all according to the engine. There may be other reasons that make a move great, but this is just solely what the engine thinks. All right, so the first move we're going to cover is bishop to f8, then knight to d7, bishop to b7, h6, and bishop d7. All right. So if black plays bishop to f8, which is the best move, white again should play knight to g5. Then black has to defend with rook to e7. Then the best move is for white to play a4, followed by bishop to d7, then a5, queen to c8, d5, knight to d8, knight to f3, h6, and bishop to a2. These are the best moves that you can play, according to the engine. and this gives white a plus 0.36 advantage. Alright. And again, this is if black plays bishop to f8 after d4. The next move that black could play is knight to d7. And let me just, so it's easier for you to take notes, I'm just going to highlight what I'm looking at right now. And so knight to d7. After that, white should play d5, followed by knight to a5, bishop to c2, c6, a4, bishop b7, d takes c6, bishop takes c6, knight f to d2, b takes a4, and bishop takes a4. Again, these are the best moves that white and black could play after knight d7, after d4 knight d7. And this gives white plus 0.46. So the first variation, it was plus 0.36. This one's slightly better for white, 0.46. So that's if you play knight to d7. The third best move that black could play in this position after d4 is bishop to b7. And if black plays bishop to b7, white should play knight b to d2, followed by bishop to f8, then bishop to c2, knight to b8, a4, knight b to d7, bishop to d3, h6, a takes b5, a takes b5, and rook takes a8. And again, these are the best moves that can be played after black plays bishop to b7. And this gives white plus 0.48 advantage. But it's still playable for both sides. Alright. So we're going to go back for bishop to b7. And the fourth best move that what black could play in this position is h6. And after h6, white should play knight b to d2, followed by bishop to d7, knight to f1, a5, then knight to g3, followed by a4, bishop to c2, queen to b8, d5, knight to a5, and b3. And this, again, is the best you can do after black plays h6 up to move 16. And this gives white a plus 0.52 advantage. So slightly better for white than the previous variations, but it's still playable for both sides. Alright, so the last variation we're going to cover for after white plays d4 is black could play bishop to d7. And after bishop to d7, white again should play knight b to d2, followed by h6, bishop to c2, bishop to f8, knight to f1, a5, b3, b4, d5, knight to b8, and c4. And this gives white plus 0.58 advantage. So, I mean, this one does look slightly better for white, so I can see why it's a plus 0.58 advantage, but it's still playable for both sides. Like, someone's going to have to make a mistake in order for someone to win. So, those are the 5 moves that black could play against d4. Okay, we're going to go back. Alright, so in this position after rook to e8, if white does not play knight to g5 and does not play d4, the next best move, the third best move that he could play is a4. And after a4, the 5 best moves that black could play is kind of similar to what we've covered already. Bishop to d7, bishop to b7, knight a5, b4, and bishop to e6. So those are the 5 best moves that black could play, and we're going to cover all of them. All right, so the first move, and let me just highlight it for you so you can clearly see what I'm covering, is bishop to d7. If black goes bishop to d7, then white should go knight to g5, rook should go to f8, then white should play d4, then black should play knight a5, then white should go bishop a2, then c5, f4, c4, f takes e5, d takes e5, and d takes e5. And again, this is the best you can do with white and black after a4 bishop d7. And this gives white only a plus 0.12. So it's really even game. So again, that's if black plays bishop to d7 after white played a4. All right. The second best move. Oops. Gotta be careful here. All right. Second best move that black could play here instead of bishop to d7 is bishop to b7. After bishop to b7, again, white should go knight to g5, then rook to f8 guarding the pawn, then d4, h6, knight f3, rook e8, bishop d2, knight a5, bishop c2, bishop f8, and knight to a3. And again, this is the best that you can do. This gives white a plus 0.32 advantage, so still pretty much nothing. It's still pretty even for both sides. And again, someone's going to have to make a mistake before someone's winning. If everyone keeps playing decent chess, it'll be a draw. But that's sometimes the best you can do. If everyone plays well, all you can get is a draw. All right, so that is bishop to b7 after a4. Right. The third best move that can be played in this position is black could go knight to a5. If black goes knight to a5, white should go bishop c2, then b4, d4, e takes d4, knight takes d4, rook to b8, c takes b4, rook takes b4, knight f3, knight c6, and knight c3. Again, this is the best that you can do. This gives white a plus 0.39 advantage, so slightly better for white than the previous 2 variations, but still pretty much nothing. It's even for both sides, so you could play this with white or black, and you can at least get a draw. All right, so that is if black plays knight to a5. The fourth best move in this position that black could play is b4. And if black plays b4, then white should play d4. Then black should take, e takes d4, then c takes d4, knight a5, bishop a2, c5, then knight b to d2, c takes d4, knight g5, rook f8, and knight to b3. And again, this is the best. After black plays b4, this is the best that white and black could play for both sides. This gives white a plus 0.60 advantage. So a bit of advantage, but it's still in draw territory. It's just the higher the rating goes one way or the other, that means one side just has to play more precise. There's less moves they can make usually. So yeah, so point 60, and that's if black plays b4. All right. So that was b4. So the last move that black could play, even though it's kind of a high advantage for white, but it's still in draw territory, is black could go bishop to e6. If black goes bishop to e6, then white should take. Bishop takes e6, then f takes e6, followed by d4, queen to d7, bishop to g5, e takes d4, c takes d4, rook a to b8, a takes b5, and queen, I'm sorry, a takes b5, a takes b5, and queen to b3. And this gives white plus 0.84 advantage. So kind of pretty high advantage, but it's still not. It kind of looks high. Anytime it's like over half a point, you start to get worried, but black can still get a draw. So it's playable. Yeah. So this is all after white plays a4. All right. So we've covered knight to g5, d4, and a4. So there are two more moves that are good and that could be played, or at least the best 5 moves that could be played. There may be others, but unfortunately we can't look at everything, even though I want to. That's just simply impossible. All right, unless there's a huge encyclopedia out there somewheres, but I just don't see how. All right. So the next after instead of knight to g5, d4, or a4, white could play bishop to c2. And the 5 best moves that black could play are d5, bishop to b7, h6, knight to b8, and bishop f8. All right. So the best move that black could play in this position is d5. And if black plays d5, then white should take. E takes d5, then queen takes d5, followed by d4, then e takes d4, c takes d4, bishop to f5, then bishop to b3, queen to d6, a4, knight a5, and bishop a2. And again, this is the best that both sides could play after black plays d5. And this gives white a plus 0.01 advantage. So it's basically all even. Sometimes I don't understand how the engine comes up with these scores. Plus 0.01, really? It should just say 000. But the engine knows more than I do, so. Alright. So that's if after white played bishop to c2, if black plays d5. This is the best you can do. Okay, so instead of d5, the next best move that black could play is bishop to b7. If black plays bishop to b7, then white should play d3, then black should play knight to b8, then d4, knight b to d7, then knight b to d2, then bishop to f8, then b3, followed by g6, a4, bishop g7, and bishop to b2. And again, this is the best that can be played on both sides of the board after black plays bishop to b7. This gives white a plus 0.13 advantage, which is practically nothing. So this is playable. All right. So we're going to go back again. That was bishop to b7. All right, so the third best move that can be played in this position is h6. After h6, white should play d4, followed by e takes d4, c takes d4, knight to b4, then bishop to b3, then c5, a3, knight to c6, knight to c3, knight takes d4, and knight takes d4. And again, this is the best that can be played from both sides after black plays h6, and this gives white a plus 0.34 advantage, which is still practically nothing. And okay, that's if black plays h6. We will go back again. If black does not play d5, bishop b7, or h6, the next best move that can be played is knight to b8. If black plays knight to b8, then white should play d4, followed by bishop to b7, knight b to d2, bishop to f8, bishop to d3, knight b to d7, a4, e takes d4, c takes d4, c5, a takes b5. This gives white a plus 0.44 advantage, but it's still playable for both sides. So that's if white plays bishop c2 and black plays knight to b8. This is the best you can do. Hopefully your opponent doesn't play the best moves and you'll get a huge advantage. That's the hope. The goal is to at least get a draw, but the hope is to get a winning advantage, obviously. All right. So the fifth best move that can be played in this position that we're covering today is what black could go bishop to f8. If black goes bishop to f8, then white should go d4, followed by h6, then knight b to d2, bishop to b7, a4, e takes d4, c takes d4, knight to b4, then bishop to b1, c5, then d5. Again, this is the best that can be played from both sides after black plays bishop to f8. And this gives white a plus 0.51 advantage. So these are the five best moves that can be played after white plays bishop to c2. So we're going to go back. All right, so if white does not go bishop to c2, the final move that we're covering today that white could play, which is the fifth best move, is a3. So the five, and we're almost done here. We just got 5 more variations to cover, and then we're good for the day. And all right, so after a3, the 5 best moves that black could play is d5, knight to a5, bishop to f8, bishop to b7, and h6. Those are the 5 best moves that black could play. So it's kind of similar to the other variations, to be honest. All right, so the first variation is if black plays d5. If black plays d5, then white should play e takes d5, followed by knight to a5, then rook takes e5, then knight to d7, then rook to e3, knight takes b3, queen takes b3, bishop b7, d4, knight b6, and knight b to d2. This actually gives black a slight advantage, negative 0.05, but it's still basically even. But if you don't want to give, if you're the type of person that doesn't want to give black any advantage when you're playing white, then maybe this isn't for you. But it's still, at the end of the day, the strategy is the same. Your opponent is, one of you is going to have to make a mistake before someone wins this game. At least one mistake. So by playing these moves and no one makes a mistake, it's going to be a draw. So this is totally playable. Alright, so that's if black plays d5. Alright. The next best move that black could play is knight to a5, which then white should go bishop c2, followed by d5, then d4, knight takes e4, knight takes e5, f6, knight to g4, then knight to c4, then b3, then knight c to d6, and a4. So this is actually completely, according to the engine, completely even, 0.00. So definitely playable by both sides. And again, someone's going to have to make a mistake in order for someone to win. Alright, so that's if black plays knight to a5. 3 variations left. Almost done. Alright. So the third move that black could play in this position is bishop to f8. If black plays bishop to f8, then white should play d4, followed by h6, then bishop to c2, then bishop to b7, followed by knight b to d2, then knight to b8, b3, knight b to d7, bishop to b2, then rook to b8, and rook to c1. Again, these are the best moves that can be played by both sides after black plays bishop to f8. This gives white a plus 0.27 advantage. So again, if you're playing as black, maybe you only want to play the best variations. So that would be d5 or knight a5. So you might not need to study this variation. But if you're playing from the white and you're playing a3, then you probably will have to know this. So if you're playing this from the white side, you're probably going to need to know all 5 of these variations. If you're just playing from the black side, then you don't. You just, I hate to say it this way, but you got to use your brain and you got to figure out what it is you need to learn. I'm giving you all the information and it's up to you to decide how to use it. So, yeah. So, I hope you're able to figure it out and then everything will be great. I may come up with some videos in the future on how to figure it out, but at this point, I'm working on these videos. So, all right. So that was if black plays bishop to f8. Okay. So the fourth best move that black could play in this position is bishop to b7. If black plays bishop to b7, white should play d4, followed by h6, bishop to a2, bishop to f8, d5, knight to e7, c4, b takes c4, knight c3, c6, and d takes c6. This gives white a plus 0.30 advantage, which still isn't much, so it's playable from both sides. So you got to know it, especially if you're playing this from the white side, you got to know it. And if you're playing this from black, then it's if you use this variation. If you do, then you got to know it. If you don't, then you don't have to. Alright, so that's if black plays bishop to b7. And the last variation we're going to cover is in this position if black plays the fifth best move, which is h6. If black plays h6, then white should play d4, followed by bishop to b7, then bishop to c2 should be played, followed by bishop to f8, then knight b to d2, followed by knight to b8, then b4, knight b to d7, bishop to b2, knight to b6, and d takes e5. This gives white a plus 0.33 advantage, and it's the best that both sides could do after black plays h6. So if you haven't already, you can go back in the video. You can pause the video anytime and write all these moves down. That's the hard part. That's one of the hard parts, is writing everything down. But maybe you can take a screenshot. But unfortunately, we just don't have the technology to make it easier than actually taking notes like in the old days. Unless you can use your phone and just take a snapshot of the screen. But the best I can do is basically you able to pause the video and write this stuff down, or just rewatch the video. So these are all the variations we're covering today, and this was after. We'll just to summarize, we were covering rook to e8 today, and we covered the moves knight to g5, d4, a4, bishop c2, and a3. And that's it. So if you want to avoid the draw, then don't play knight to g5. But if you're playing against a higher rated opponent and you do want the draw, then play knight to g5. Yeah, it's all about strategy and who you're playing. So I hope you enjoyed. I know this is a lot of work. I know it was a lot of information, but I simply don't know any other way to teach chess by giving you the information, and there's a lot of information. So far we've covered the Zaitsev variation, and we've covered this variation. Let's see, next video we're probably going to cover the Breyer variation, which is knight to b8. So I look forward to doing that. But yeah, if you this is a lot of notes to take. So I wish there was an easier way to learn chess. I wish there was. Unless you're a genius and you just know the moves instinctually, but if you're a regular human being, it's a lot of work. But hopefully you find chess fun and you find learning variations fun. That way it's fun. And if you do, then you're going to have a lot of fun. Yeah, so if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And yeah, if you know other people that want to get better at chess, share my videos. And yeah, I hope you have a great one. I hope you enjoy your day. So that's it for today. Chessman's out. Bye.